So here we are outside Westminster, and hello my baby gorillas. So I'm here with Estelle.
Estelle? Estelle Label.
And what are you? What's the organisation? The ladies are looking fantastic. I'm just going to flip this round just now to show all the ladies in purple. They all look absolutely fantastic. So why are all the ladies in purple, and what are you campaigning for, Estelle?
So basically there's a whole group of women, and there's going to be many more coming today.
Fantastic. The more the better for me, it's Estelle.
Absolutely. Well, we're part of what is the WASPI campaign, which is now 2018.
Right.
Basically, we are campaigning and have been doing for the last at least 5 or 6 years plus with regard to the 1950s. We're 1950s women. We find ourselves in a situation where because of the reforms that happened with legislation over the last 20 years, we're now in a situation where we've had our state pension age increased by up to 6 years, and very unequally as well.
Can you just explain, because there are people here that won't have a clue about any of this, Estelle. So if what you might want to do is go into the minutiae of how this has actually came about, and what the inequality is now, and what...
So basically what has happened is that there's a cohort of 1950s women in particular that have been affected by the changes in legislation.
You have not been born in the 1950s, have you? You're looking fantastic. Using oily yuli, have you? Fantastic.
Oh, you're very kind.
Go on, carry on.
So basically, our pension age was increased from 60 to actually effectively 66 for most of us. There was legislation that was brought out in 1995. Most of that wasn't told to us. We weren't although there was legislation, there was no communication of that legislation until some 10 to 14 years later. Also, there was further legislation that happened in 2011, which also fast-tracked the increases that were happening with the state pension increase, and actually increased it again by a further 2 or 3 years. So what you have a situation is that many women were reaching a situation where they were getting to their late 50s. They might even be going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce. The judge that was involved with me didn't even know. I mean, he was working on the basis that I was going to get my state pension at 60, when we were looking at obviously how things were going to be divided. So basically the communication has been appalling. So you have a situation where women have reached an age when suddenly they find out, actually, I'm not going to get my pension at 60. On top of that, you have an uneven way of doing things. So for example, I meet with school friends once a year, 8 of us. We all left school at the same time. We're all the same age. There is basically a 10-month difference in age between us. There's a 28-month difference between when the first person gets their state pension and the last person does. Because
so they've done it on a specific date, have they?
Yeah.
And the people
So anything. So it's a certain cohort from the 1950s onwards, but there's a certain group from 1954 onwards that has been particularly affected. So what happens is that it's not only been not communicated, it's been handled really badly. We've over the last n number of years, therefore, we've been trying to engage the government in conversations. The government, we've seen documents where the government have actually told their ministers, do not engage, do not enter into anything, they will go away eventually. Well, you know what, I have a message for the government.
Vote Brexit. Vote Brexit party, is that the message? We're going to get rid of you, Nigel's coming in.
Well, whatever, but all I know is that basically, we're not going away. We're not going away. Now today, the reason in particular that we're here today is that not very far from here at the Royal Courts of Justice, there has been leave to appeal to actually challenge the government with regard to what they have done.
Now, have you as an organisation brought this forward?
Back to 60, which is, there's a number of organisations that are working, and we're all working together in one way or another to try and get all of this sorted out for us. Because if it can happen to us, trust me, it's going to happen to the next generations. And it has to stop somewhere. You have women that are actually having to sell their houses, they're having to move in with their children. Forget the fact that, it's the empty nesting thing, they're going the other way. So very, very importantly, at the Royal Courts of Justice today and tomorrow, there is a hearing, and it's being brought on the basis of equality. Because one of the reasons that the government said they had to do this
equality. It's not equality between the sexes; it's equality between people in the right age.
Well, they were talking about equality between the sexes. We all had to equal everything up. So basically, although there's maladministration in terms of how the DWP have carried things out, and there's been lots of complaints going in for them to have to look at that. At the moment, we're looking at equality. So the leave to appeal is the Royal Courts of Justice, which is really important. Michael Mansfield, one of the best barristers we've ever had in this country, very famous for some really high-profile things. He is leading that. The government tried to stop it. The government went to court some 3 or 4 months ago and said, no, we really can't have this. This is really not necessary. And basically, the appeal judge said, no, I think we really need to hear this. So, today and tomorrow, there will be an interesting conversation going on in the Royal Courts of Justice, where the government will have to put forward why they've done what they've done, and Michael and his team, and a very good team. We've got people like the UN ambassador who's recently been here talking about austerity and the impact of austerity, and he particularly selected out amongst some of the people who were particularly affected. Guess who?
You.
1950s.
The ladies from the 1950s.
We're in the report. So the government again will choose to ignore that and say that's not real. But when it comes to the legal scenario, they have to present why they haven't been unfair to us, why it hasn't been in the name of equality. They've actually been very, very unequal to us in the whole thing. So we'll see.
The irony.
It's an irony, absolutely.
I think in relation to equality, we're the generation that have had no equality.
But pushed the equality the furthest, I would have said, probably that generation as well.
And of course what's happening now is you're getting a whole tranche of women that were born in the 1960s that are beginning to say, oh, hang on a minute, what happens when I get to... And they're suddenly starting to realise, because they aren't sure, they've not really been told either.
Yeah.
So, it's... To be honest with you, if I'm honest, if they'd have increased it by maybe 2 years, I wouldn't have been happy, but I would have, done what I could. I have spent all of my savings just living. The government owe me £60,000.
Wow.
£10,000 a year they have lifted from me. And that is not a small amount of money. I don't know about you, but if you've only been given a couple of years' notice, I was told 18 months before that they changed my, they sent me a normal form. This is when you
think you're getting this money, but you're not anymore.
Well, they say this is what you're going to get, and this is the date. There was no big, big red ring round the figure going, big arrow. Just please note it's been moved on 6 years. No. It's all gone under the radar. Hoping again that we would just slink away as we used to. Well, you know what? It ain't going to happen.
The ladies are out, looking fantastic with the picnic campers.
We're not happy.
Fantastic.
And you know what? It's been very interesting because actually this campaign has also showed not only, we know that we can be powerful when we need to, and we know that we're survivors. Yeah. But what this campaign shows is what happens. There's an alchemy that happens when you bring women together. There's a real alchemy when you bring people together because of a real just cause. We have women that suddenly have realised that they can actually speak on camera. Mm-hmm. We've got women that can actually become writers. We've got women that can actually do drama about this. There are so many things that women have now been empowered to do.
Of your generation?
Absolutely, yeah.
And were you feeling unempowered before?
We've always been unempowered. From day one, we were taught. I was taught to ballroom dance and get out of a car without showing underwear. That's the primary lesson.
Very useful.
Thank you. They've stood me in good stead. But we were oppressed all our lives.
And I tell you, the other very important thing is just as you walked up to speak to us, we were speaking to a really nice girl from Argentina. Yes. Now, the other thing...
In Spanish, were you? You're very talented.
No, absolutely not. But I have to say,
Spanish.
the other really interesting thing is that what is insidiously happening in this country
as young, handsome men of a slightly younger generation are taking care and interest in...
what the government is actually doing insidiously is actually putting a block between the old and the young.
Yeah.
So they talk about, oh my God, you're all living longer, blah,
they're going to sap the funds.
We have to worry. So they're trying to pit young against old. And actually, this is not about young against old because we've been dumped upon from a great height. Yeah. Young people have been dumped upon a great height. So you know what? What we are trying to say to people is, whether it's young and old, whether it's disability groups, whether it's, you know, austerity groups, whether it's us, and the different groups within our campaign. Let's bring everybody together, because you know what? When you bring people together, it's so much more powerful.
Well, do you want me to tell you, do you want me to say something what I think?
Please do.
I can understand, and you ladies work for, or not have worked, but depend, brought up children, done whatever you've done
48 years
for a long period of time, and to change the rules. But to get a state pension as a state benefit, people have to be generating money,
Yep.
and it's for me to fund you, not to fund you, but to fund you. The focus must be on entrepreneurship and the development of businesses and entrepreneurs in the UK, because that will then raise the tax receipts. We can actually. Well, let me just. So that would then raise the tax receipts,
Yeah.
and then be able to facilitate, because there must have been an element of we're having to cut the budget, and that's what they've looked at, which is understandable, because they would have a. This is interesting.
You see, there's another interesting fact, because the longer this campaign goes on, I would argue that the government are being really very silly, because the longer it goes on, the more there are freedom of information questions that are going on out there. Now, there's an extremely good investigative journalist who is called David Hinkins, yeah? And he did some digging, some real digging, and he has established that actually the National Insurance Fund, you know, this fund that we all pay into, you pay into, I paid into, you know, I paid certs on the top on blah 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 for 40 odd years. Well, actually, we all were led, we all sold this pup that we pay in, and then the NI fund, and the money goes in, and then it's all kind of spread around between us and the NHS.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the government. And I won't. And it's in itself. It could take an hour to talk about this. But in a nutshell, the government have been raiding that fund since 1989. So actually, when they say there's no money, there's no money because they spent it on other things. And we've actually then done Freedom of Information Act to say,
what have you spent
what
on?
have you spent it on? And actually, they can't really question. It's to pay down the national debt. That's actually on record. So they've been doing things. You know, when people talk about the shit that's going on.
They've been doing a bit of creative accounting.
Well, so when people talk about what's happening
at state level,
you know, when we all talk about how disappointed we are in our MPs at the moment, how disappointed we are in the government, you know, how they're not doing what they said they would do. Well, you know what? They've been doing a lot of things which they didn't actually share with anybody. You know, there was an MP that stood up in a debate in Parliament about a year ago. A lovely guy. He's the Lib Dem shadow minister for down in Eastbourne, I think it is. He stood up and said, for the 2011 legislation, which moved things on massively and quickly, he basically said, I didn't know what I was voting for.
Well, that probably explains he's a Lib Dem then.
but it doesn't matter, because a lot of them do, because the point is that actually there's so much going on in Parliament that we don't know what's going on, and we have to start putting our foot down and saying, you know what, we're not going away. You keep on telling us we're all living longer. Well, actually, no, we're not. Go away and look at the statistics. The statistics are actually going like that. And if you actually look at certain cohorts, including our sort of age group, in certain parts of the country, not everywhere, not down here, but if you go up north and whatever, it's going the other way. So again, but if you stand in, you watch that, you go and read some of the Hansard debates where you've got Guy Offerman, the pensions minister, who will stand up. He will sit there for an hour whilst the debate's going on. Everybody's agreeing that this is what Snap price is unfair, so it should be done. He then stands up, and all he'll talk about is how longevity is an issue, and we all have to be. And that's it. He can't even bring himself to mention the name WASPI or back to 60. It's crazy. So you know what? That's why we're really happy, and we're not going away till we get our back.
And so how are you going to do your campaign? What's your sort of strategy then for your campaign?
Well, the strategy at the moment is we continue to, I mean, obviously Brexit has been a big issue in starting to deflect. But, you know, we continue to lobby. Obviously, the judicial review is big stuff. Do not underestimate how big that is. Because the government did everything they could in their power to stop it.
Well, Nigel looks like he's top of the trumps for the voting intentions for the next Westminster election. It looks like he's going to win Peterborough. Well, I would suggest you go and speak to Nigel, because he looks like...
Yeah, but you know what? If I can just say, it doesn't matter what MP you talk to, I take it with a pinch of salt. Because actually, you know, they talk a good story. But when they get there, I'm not interested in what they say. I just want results.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. We're actually a little jaded with all these MPs.
Well,
Doesn't
probably
matter whether they're conservative, they're all using us as a they all use us.
We're political tennis ball, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, he suggested, Guy Opperman, that at 63 we could go and get apprenticeships.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think you'd be great doing some woodwork.
Could we do an apprenticeship to do your job? I could do your job.
Oh, I think you could. You'll certainly look better than me anyway.
I've applied for an internship in his office. Has he got back to me yesterday yet? No.
I would give you an internship, Christine. You think you'd be fantastic. You come and work in the Guerilla TV channel. I think you'd be great. And the camera wheel lady.
I tell you, I would be out there. I would be out there daily. I'd love it. I'd love it.
Well, I tell you that.
You'd fit right in.
And actually, that's the other. If there is one good thing that's come out of the rubbish we find ourselves
It's me.
facing, it's you. Meeting you today has been, has been the pinnacle of my week. But putting that to one side, the other thing that's been really great is actually the fact that there are so many of us that are demonstrating to the world that just because you're 60 or 65, you're not finished.
Oh, I don't think
Trust me.
finished. I think you look
Trust me,
fantastic.
we
See
are.
these?
Oh, the mask. I've got one of those as well.
Yeah, but do you know what they relate to?
Guy Fawkes.
No.
Oh.
No, wrong.
They relate to the fact that women of a certain age become voiceless, powerless, and are silenced
Are these
by
mannequin
society.
masks rather than...
So we wear these because we are faceless and voiceless. That's
It's a bit like the V for Vendetta as well, a wee bit like that as well.
well,
And it's like
we're having our day today and tomorrow.
the Vendetta from the ladies.
Well,
are
actually,
now.
it's actually very powerful, and if you hang around, I don't know what time it is, maybe 1:15, but with people with their masks, not saying anything, just standing there, and being, it's incredibly powerful.
Oh, you need to get me a picture of that. I thought I'd put it up on
You should.
Facebook. I do a wee bit of photography as
So I
well.
hope that's been helpful.
Estelle, thank you very much. It's been absolute and welcome
Nice
to
to
the
meet you.
Guerilla TV channel.
No worries.
Christine, thank
No
you very
worries.
much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you,
Okay.
ladies.
The other thing that
Bye.
I wanted